So the rain has absolutely played Mary Hob with all my plants, but one thing that it has really done for us is the mushroom hunting this year is amazing. So I thought I'd take you along the path that I use and show you kind of some of the stuff that I'm finding. Here we go. So I've actually got some progress on the path to the meditation area. So I'm just waiting for my truck to get fixed so I can get some more mulch, but this is coming along, I think. And so up this path, there aren't as many chanterelles. We've got chanterelles down lower. But what I'm really looking for is, it's called a king boulette, and there's one right here. But I'm not going to pick that one because it's by itself. So, obviously, I want mushrooms to be, I want them to come back every year. So, oh, but I see some over here. So let's go through the spider webs. Oh, here's one. So this is a king boulette, which is considered gourmet. Now, obviously, there is a risk in hunting mushrooms. You need to be the type of person who pays attention. But these boulettes are kind of a minimal risk sort of mushroom. There is a variety that will make you ill as far as intestinal distress, but it won't kill you. And the kind that make you sick have red stems. So this is not one. So the other thing about these boulettes is they don't have gills like most mushrooms. They have pores. So that's a definite. Then I see a bunch over here. So, oh yeah, there's tons. So here is a little grouping of them. Oh yay, I just walked through spider webs. Love that. Okay, so see, here's a little grouping. I'm going to take this one. And there's another one up there. I'm going to leave these two, and there's one down there that I'm going to leave. So because I want them next year. So, oof, more spider webs. So you see this one has a little bit of darker top, but it's definitely a boulette. Poof, spiders. Come on. So there's that pore. The pores instead of the gills. This is a red chanterelle. They're not actually as tasty. Here's another boulette just starting, but I'm going to leave it alone. Let's see. Oh, there's one over there. That's a darker one. Woo. So many spider webs. Nope, that's actually... Okay, so this may be a boulette, but see how red the stem is? I can feel the pores, but the red stem tells me that that is not one that I want to eat. So I'm not eating that one. So it can just stay there. My Paw Patrol has followed me. Oh, here's a really nice chanterelle. So I found that the chanterelles like these waterways. They tend to grow down these waterways. So I'll show you that. I have plenty of chanterelles. I'm drying boulettes today, so I'm not going to do anything with it. But so this is a chanterelle. They're delicious, and they're also one of the fairly safe mushrooms. because there are some lookalikes, but they're pretty obvious differences. So, if you're going to do mushrooms, you should do the safe ones. And I'm going to take my boulettes and back to the hovel, and we'll slice them up and put them in the dehydrator. Here is my boulette haul today, and so you can see they're kind of some cool varieties and how they're shaped. This one's maybe a little younger, but it has a wonky stem. See how big and fat the bottom can get. So now I'm going to slice these up, and I have found that this knife is supposed to be for bread, but it works amazing for these. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the stem because I won't be able to slice the stem. And I can cut the stem into slices. It's so dirty. So, all right, here we go. So I'm just going to cut these into 1/4 inch pieces maybe. So let's see, to put into the dehydrator. And I'm not sure what it is about this knife, but it's so much easier to get even slices. So you can see, here's the flesh, and this is the pores of the mushroom. These dry really nicely. And when you dry mushrooms, not only are you preserving them, but it also concentrates and enhances the flavor of them. So, one thing you don't want to do is, I brush them off, I'll brush them off if they're dirty, but you don't want to wash them in water because they're just like a little sponge, and they soak that water right up, and then, yeah, it's not ideal. Let's just put it that way. So, number 2, here, let me wipe this down again. It's getting little fluffies. All right, so I am going to see now. Sometimes the stems go hollow. This is a foraged product, so you're gonna maybe find bugs in them. This is not grocery store ready. Let's put it that way. So, but oh my gosh, the flavor from these wild, because they've not been bred to ship, most of the vegetables you get at the grocery store now, they've been bred to be uniform so that they can be easily harvested, and they've been bred to ship well. So they haven't really been bred to taste good. They've maybe been bred to keep a little bit longer. And I'm going to go ahead and... Now the stems tend to be tougher, but I have teeth, so I don't mind some texture in my food. So, but I'm going to finish slicing these, and then I'll show you how I lay them in the dehydrator trays. Here's what I ended up with. There's actually a lot, and hopefully I have enough trays. So here are my dehydrator trays. I just have, and I'm going to put these just so they're not touching. These will shrink a lot as they dry. Look how pretty they are. They're so pretty. There's a broken piece. So just lay them around. Didn't work. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, kind of, trying to fit everything on. So Let's see. Because we don't want them to touch, but they could be close without touching. Put some of the stems on here. One thing about these king boulettes that's a distinguishing feature is when you cut them, a lot of mushrooms will stain, will change color when they bruise. They'll turn black or brown. There's a blue milk cap that actually bleeds like a blue sap, and these don't do that. They stay white. They don't stain. So here we go. Another tray. So that's definitely something to look for. Like I said, there is some risk if you're going to eat the mushrooms. But you know what? Mushroom hunting just all on its own is a blast. So even if you don't eat them, just going looking for them and taking pictures is, you get to spend time out in the woods, and there's so many different kinds. It's a very fun thing. And if you do, there are some mushrooms that are pretty safe. Morels. Now, I've never found any morels. I've heard they're here, but I haven't found any. Puffballs. Puffballs are pretty obvious if you just pay, but you do have to pay attention, because like a puffball, some more poisonous varieties look like puffballs when they're young. So you need to know what to look for. If you can find somebody, like a friend or somebody who does this, that will go out with you, that's obviously the best thing. But, sometimes you have to decide what level of risk you're willing to take. So, these are so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up and get these going. Now, I dehydrate at 135 degrees. Some people can air dry mushrooms if you happen to live somewhere dry enough. Although, in my experience, if you live somewhere dry enough to air dry mushrooms, it's probably too dry, really, for the most part, to grow mushrooms. So, and then I've heard you can do it in the oven as well. I have a dehydrator, so I've never tried, but just on the lowest possible setting. So, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit all these on, but anyway, I will show you what I end up with at the end of this process. So out of all of those mushrooms, this is what I ended up with. 2 jars of dehydrated mushrooms. It took 24 hours. Well, they may have been done before that, but I wanted to be super sure that they were completely dry, because if there's any moisture left in them, they just mold in the jar, and you've wasted all your time, and I've wasted these beautiful mushrooms. So to tell if they're actually dry enough, they should snap. So they're very brittle, like crackers almost. You break them like crackers. And I probably could have gotten more in the jar if I had broken them into smaller pieces, but I did want the option of using bigger mushroom chunks in my dishes if I wanted to. So I left them, I broke most of them in half, but I left them in pretty big chunks. So in order to use these, you'll have to rehydrate them. And to do that, you pour boiling water over what you want to rehydrate and leave it on for about 20 minutes, and that should puff them back up. And then you just cook them like they were fresh. don't throw the water away. Make sure that you don't pour off any sediment, but you can use that water that you've rehydrated the mushrooms, sort of like a stock. It takes on some really great smoky flavor, and it just would be a waste to dump that down the sink. So this is my first time gathering my own mushrooms and dehydrating them. I had a really great time doing it, and I'm so grateful that you came along with me. If you have any questions, or if there's anything else you would like to see, please drop me a comment. I love all your comments. I read them. I try to respond to everybody, and we will see you next time.